لقد رضي الله عن المؤمنين إذ يبايعونك تحت الشجرة فعلم ما في قلوبهم فأنزل السكينة عليهم وأثابهم فتحا قريبا. Certainly was Allah pleased with the believers when they pledged allegiance to you, O Muhammad, under the tree, and He knew what was in their hearts. So He sent down tranquility upon them and rewarded them with an imminent conquest. وَمَغَانِمَ كَثِيرَةً يَأْخُذُونَهَا وَكَانَ اللَّهُ عَزِيزًا حَكِيمًا. And much more booty which they will take. And ever is Allah exalted in might and wise. وَعَدَكُمُ اللَّهُ مَغَانِمَ كَثِيرَةً تَأْخُذُونَهَا فَعَجَّلَ لَكُمْ هَذِهِ وَكَفَّ أَيْدِيَ النَّاسِ عَنْكُمْ وَلِتَكُونَ آيَةً لِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ وَيَهْدِيَكُمْ صِرَاطًا مُسْتَقِيمًا. Allah has promised you much booty that you will take in the future, and has hastened for you this victory and withheld the hands of people from you, that it may be a sign for the believers and that He may guide you to a straight path. وَأُخْرَى لَمْ تَقْدِرُوا عَلَيْهَا قَدْ أَحَاطَ اللَّهُ بِهَا وَكَانَ اللَّهُ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ قَدِيرًا. And He promises other victories that you were so far unable to realize, which Allah has already encompassed, and ever is Allah over all things competent. وَلَوْ قَاتَلَكُمُ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا لَوَلَّوُا الْأَدْبَارَ ثُمَّ لَا يَجِدُونَ وَلِيًّا وَلَا نَصِيرًا. And if those Meccans who disbelieve had fought you, they would have turned their backs in flight. Then they would not find a protector or a helper. سُنَّةَ اللَّهِ الَّتِي قَدْ خَلَتْ مِن قَبْلُ وَلَن تَجِدَ لِسُنَّةِ اللَّهِ تَبْدِيلًا. This is the established way of Allah, which has occurred before, and never will you find in the way of Allah any change. وَهُوَ الَّذِي كَفَّ أَيْدِيَهُمْ عَنْكُمْ وَأَيْدِيَكُمْ عَنْهُمْ بِبَطْنِ مَكَّةَ مِنْ بَعْدِ أَنْ أَظْفَرَكُمْ عَلَيْهِمْ وَكَانَ اللَّهُ بِمَا تَعْمَلُونَ بَصِيرًا. And it is He who withheld their hands from you and your hands from them within the area of Makkah, after He caused you to overcome them, and ever is Allah of what you do seeing. هم الذين كفروا وصدوكم عن المسجد الحرام والهدي معكوفا أن يبلغ محله ولولا رجال مؤمنون ونساء مؤمنات لم تعلموهم أن تطؤوهم فتصيبكم منهم معرة بغير علم ليدخل الله في رحمته من يشاء لو تزيلوا لعذبنا الذين كفروا منهم عذابا أليما. They are the ones who disbelieved and obstructed you from Al-Masjid Al-Haram while the offering was prevented from reaching its place of sacrifice. And if not for believing men and believing women whom you did not know, that you might trample, means to kill them, there would befall you because of them dishonor without your knowledge. You would have been permitted to enter Makkah. This was so that Allah might admit to His mercy whom He willed. And if they had been apart from them, we would have punished those who disbelieved among them with painful punishment. إذ جعل الذين كفروا في قلوبهم الحمية حمية الجاهلية فأنزل الله سكينته على رسوله وعلى المؤمنين وألزمهم كلمة التقوى وكانوا أحق بها وأهلها وكان الله بكل شيء عليما. When those who disbelieved had put into their hearts chauvinism, the chauvinism of the time of ignorance, but Allah sent down His tranquility upon His messenger and upon the believers and imposed upon them the word of righteousness, and they were more deserving of it and worthy of it, and ever is Allah of all things knowing. So in today's session we have read ayat from ayah number 18 to ayah number 26, and that is the third session, and inshallah we are going to complete it in our fourth session next Saturday, if Allah wills. Now just a summary of what we have said before about Surah Al-Fath, Inna fatahna laka fathan mubina, that we have given you a very manifest victory. That victory is actually the Treaty of Hudaybiyah, which was made in the 6th year of Hijrah at Hudaybiyah, a place outside Makkah. So the Prophet ﷺ, after seeing that vision that he is going to Makkah and doing tawaf there, and then some of them they are shaving their heads, some of them they are trimming their hairs, he embarked upon that journey with how many people? 1,400. 1,400 Sahaba. With them about 70 camels for sacrifice. And this is how he proceeded. Some people who are known in the Quran, Al-Mukhallafun, some people in Medina, they did not join the Prophet, and they were left behind, thinking that our Prophet ﷺ is going to be in trouble and they might be killed. Nobody is going to come back. So this is why they did not join the ranks. The Prophet ﷺ, on his way to Makkah, he knew that the Meccan people, they are gathering a big crowd for them to meet them and to fight them. So this is why. And he also knew that Khalid ibn al-Walid, at that time he was still a non-Muslim. He has already approached a place called Qura al-Ghamim. So the Prophet changed his route, and by changing the route he came safe and sound to Al-Hudaybiyah, which is very near to Makkah. So when he got there, the Meccan people, they started sending delegates to him. Now the first one, it was not a delegate from them, it was a person from the tribe of Khuza'ah who are in alliance with the Prophet. His name is Budayl ibn Warqa. Budayl ibn Warqa, he came to the Prophet ﷺ and he saw and he knew that the Prophet is coming only for Umrah. And he is not aiming at fight at all. So he came to Meccan people and told them that Prophet is just coming for Umrah, allow him. They said, you are in his alliance, we don't listen to you. Then they sent Al-Hulays ibn Al-Qama Al-Kinani, Sayyid al-Ahabish. Sayyid al-Ahabish, yani the master of people called Ahabish. From Habasha, no. There is a mountain in Makkah called Al-Habash. So these people, because they used to live around that mountain, this is why they are known as Ahabish. So it was reported that their leader Al-Hulays, he came to the Prophet ﷺ and he actually saw from his own eyes that there are camels around him, camels of sacrifice. In Arabic known as Al-Hadi. Al-Hadi, all camels for sacrifice. So he came back to Meccan people, also said the same thing. Muhammad ﷺ did not come to fight, but they did not listen to him. Then they sent another person, third person, Urwa ibn Mas'ud al-Thaqafi. He later became Muslim, but at that time he was not a Muslim. And he said, I can negotiate with the Prophet. So he came to the Prophet ﷺ and he negotiated. He was saying such words, "O Muhammad, if you win, are you going to Are you going to kill all those people who are a root for you, who are al-asl, who are the root for you, Quraysh people? And if you are defeated, then I will tell you, nobody, all that crowd which you brought with you, nobody is going to stand with you. They will all run away. Sayyidina Abu Bakr gave him a very dirty look at that time, and he said to him that you say these words, huh? Actually, the word he used is a word of, a very strong word to him at that time. He said, we are going to run away? No, we will stand by him. And then Urwa ibn Masud al-Saqafi, he came back to Quraysh people and he said to them, Ya Mashara Quraysh, O Quraysh people, I have visited the court of Negus, Najashi, the court of Kisra, the Qaisar of Kisra, and these kings around him. I have seen their courts, but I did not see any people respecting their leader as I have seen the Muslims respecting Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam does his wudu, they don't leave the drops of water fall from his hand. They pick it before it touches the ground. Even if there is any spitting from him, they will not allow it to fall on the ground. They lower their voice in his presence. They give him such a great respect. I have never seen anybody respecting their leader like this. So it is better allow him to do tawaf and to do umrah and get back. But Quraysh people, they thought that it would be shame for them that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, with whom they were fighting for so many years, and now they just allowed him to enter into Makkah. They can't tolerate such type of behavior. They say, oh, all the Arab people will say, Muhammad is so powerful that he could enter Makkah against the will of the Meccan people. So this is why they want to have a face saving for them. Last time we also said that when our Prophet ﷺ came to Hudaybiyah, there was no water. There was a little water in the well, which was not enough for such a big number of people. So Prophet ﷺ gave his arrow to someone who threw that arrow in the water. And then the water gushed out like a spring from that well. And it was enough for all of them. Now this ayah, which I have read in the beginning, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is pleased with those people who were giving you bay'ah, oath of allegiance under the tree. Now we discuss that phenomena here. Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam wanted to send his emissary, his delegation to Makkah as well. So he said to Umar, can you go to Makkah and talk on behalf of us? Sayyidina Umar said, I can go, but there is no one to protect me because my tribe, Banu Adi ibn Ka'ab, they don't have any good relation with the people of Makkah. So if I go there, I might be put into a trial and they might not welcome me with smiling face. Send Usman ibn Affan. So this is how our Prophet ﷺ sent Sayyidina Usman ibn Affan to Makkah. When he entered Makkah, a good person called Aban ibn Sa'id ibn al-As, he gave him protection, which means that you are under my protection, nobody is going to hurt you. With his protections, he went to the leaders of Meccan people, Abu Sufyan and others, and he talked to them that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam had come only just for Umrah, not for any fighting at all. He wants to come and do this tawaf of the house of Allah. They said, you are allowed to do tawaf. Ya Usman, you are allowed to do tawaf. He said, until the Prophet is allowed, I am not going to do tawaf. That was the spirit which was found among the companions of the Prophet ﷺ. Because 2-3 days have passed, a rumor was spread that Usman has been killed by the Quraysh people. That is the time when the Prophet ﷺ announced that I have received the revelation, so come and give me an oath of allegiance, al-bay'ah. So people hurried to the Prophet ﷺ to give this oath of bay'ah, allegiance. He was under a tree. This is why it is called bay'ah tahta shadara, a bay'ah which took place under a tree, bay'ah al-Ridwan, in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that Allah is pleased with the Sahaba who were giving oath of allegiance to you under the tree. Sayyidina Jabir got a very lengthy report about this Hudaybiyah. He says, we took an oath of allegiance upon what? Upon what? Bayana ala alla nafir. That we are not going to run away at all. We are not going to forsake the Prophet at all. We will stand by him. Riwayat al-Bukhari, the narration of Bukhari is that he took bay'ah upon death, that we will stay with you until we die. So how to reconcile between the two? We can say that some of them, they have said these words that we are not going to run away, which actually means that we will stand by you until the last moment. And some people, they actually use the word that we are going to give you an oath of allegiance on death. They say that first one who made this bay'ah was Sinan ibn Wahb al-Asadi. There is another a great warrior, a very young person among the Sahaba. His name is Salama ibn al-Aqwa. Salama ibn al-Aqwa is so famous that he could run. You just imagine any fastest animal, he could run like that. Salama ibn al-Aqwa, he was a great warrior. And he made bay'ah to the Prophet ﷺ. And when half of the people have given this oath of allegiance, the Prophet asked him, Salama, come, give an oath of allegiance. He said, O Prophet of Allah, I have done it. He said, no, do it again. So he did it again. And then he says, in the end, when all the people have done this bay'ah, the Prophet asked him, Salama, where are you? Do this bay'ah. And he said, I have done this bay'ah. Before that, the Prophet ﷺ saw him without any weapons in his hand. So he gave him a shield. So the Prophet said, where is that shield which I gave you? He said, I saw someone among my brothers who got no shield at all. I gave him that shield. So Prophet ﷺ was very pleased with him. He said, do this bay'ah once again. So he said that I am the one who did bay'ah 3 times to the Prophet ﷺ. All of them did bay'ah except one person. His name was Al-Jadd ibn Qais. Al-Jadd ibn Qais, I think he was of a weak nature, so he was trying to hide behind his she-camel. He was frightened. That was one person, and it is also said about another person who, about whom the Prophet ﷺ said that all the people who have done this bay'ah would enter into Al-Jannah, paradise. Illa sahibul jamal al-ahmar, except the person with the red camel. So what is the story of that person with the red camel? He lost his camel and he was looking for his camel, going around looking for his camel. People said to him, come, people are giving bay'ah to the Prophet ﷺ, come and give him bay'ah. And he said, I get my camel is more beloved to me than to do this bay'ah. So this camel stopped him from doing bay'ah to the Prophet ﷺ. So this is why the Prophet said, everybody will enter who did this bay'ah under the tree except the person with the red camel. There are two more things associated to this bay'ah. Jabir also narrated that there is a woman called Mubashir. She was sitting with the wife of the Prophet Hafsa. And the Prophet said, لا يدخل النار إن شاء الله من أصحاب الشجرة الذين بايعوا تحتها أحد. Nobody who gave that bay'ah to the Prophet ﷺ under the tree would enter into fire. Nobody would enter into fire. All would be in Al-Jannah. فقالت بلى يا رسول الله. Now bala, the use of the word bala here, it means she is contradicting the Prophet. She is saying, no, they would enter. They would enter. So Prophet ﷺ became angry. Why did you say that? So she said, Quran says in Surah Maryam, وَإِن مِّنكُمْ إِلَّا وَارِدُهَا وَإِن مِّنكُمْ إِلَّا وَارِدُهَا. Everyone among you is going to pass upon it. So this word which is al-wurud does not mean actually to enter into the fire. فَلَمَّا وَرَدَ مَاءَ مَدْيَنَ, in the story of Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam, when he came to the spring of Madian, it does not mean that he entered into it, he came near to it. In the same way, the ayah of Surah Maryam, إِن مِّنكُمْ إِلَّا وَارِدُهَا كَانَ عَلَى رَبِّكَ حَتْمًا مَقْضِيًّا. This is something which is written upon each and every person that he is going to come near to it. And it means that there would be a bridge on the hellfire, everybody would cross that bridge. That is wurud, that they would come very near to the hellfire. Some people would cross it, some people would not be able to cross it. These are the kuffar people who would fall into the hellfire from that bridge. So the Prophet ﷺ, when he listened to her argument, he said, now read the ayah after that. وَإِن مِّنكُمْ إِلَّا وَارِدُهَا كَانَ عَلَى رَبِّكَ حَتْمًا مَقْضِيًّا ثُمَّ نُنَجِّي الَّذِينَ اتَّقَوْا وَنَذَرُ الظَّالِمِينَ فِيهَا جِثِيًّا. Quran is saying, ثُمَّ نُنَجِّي الَّذِينَ اتَّقَوْا. Then we are going to save those people who are muttaqeen people from that hellfire. And we leave al-mujrimeen only, the sinners, into the hellfire. And another thing which is associated with the same bay'ah, according to Jabir, that there is a Sahabi called Hatib bin Abi Balta'. Hatib bin Abi Balta', he is known in the history that how once he wrote a letter to the people of Makkah. That is later when the Prophet ﷺ wanted to go to for the conquest of Makkah. He wrote them a letter informing them about the Prophet's intention. So this thing must have occurred later, that one of his slaves came to the Prophet ﷺ and he said, لَيَدْخُلَنَّ حَاطِبَ النَّارِ. Hatib will enter into fire. Hatib will enter the fire. So Prophet said, كَذَبْتْ لَا يَدْخُلُهَا فَإِنَّهُ قَدْ شَهِدَ بَدْرًا وَالْحُدَيْبِيَّةِ. He said, no, he is not going to enter the fire because he witnessed, he was attending Badr and he attended Hudaybiyah as well. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given good tidings for both people who attended Badr and Hudaybiyah. So this is why he said no. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said, لَقَدْ رَضِيَ اللَّهُ عَنِ الَّذِينَ يُبَايِعُونَكَ تَحْتَ الشَّجَرَةِ. So what you are saying is wrong. And this is how this bay'ah has taken place. There is another thing which is said by Abdullah ibn Umar, that Abdullah ibn Umar aslama qabla abihi Umar. Abdullah ibn Umar became Muslim before his father Umar. That is not correct. Not correct. What does actually meant by the reporter? There is some error here. He is not the Sayyidina Abdullah ibn Umar was not the one to become Muslim before his father. No. Umar became Muslim and as you know, he was the 40th person to enter into Islam in Makkah. So what does this narrative mean is a different story. That is the story of Al-Hudaybiyah. Sayyidina Umar asked his son Abdullah, go and fetch me a camel from someone Ansari, because he wanted that camel. No, not camel, a horse. So Abdullah ibn Umar went to that Ansari, and he was about to go to that Ansari to take that horse when he heard the people crowding around the Prophet ﷺ. So out of curiosity he went, what is happening here? Oh, people are giving oath of allegiance to the Prophet. So Abdullah ibn Umar gave oath of the allegiance. And then he brought the horse. And then he came to his father, Sayyidina Umar. And Sayyidina Umar said, what is happening there? I see so much crowd. He said, people are giving oath of allegiance to the Prophet. So this is how Sayyidina Umar went, and he also did bad to the Prophet. So the actual meaning of this narration is that Abdullah ibn Umar gave oath of allegiance before his father. Alright, when the Prophet ﷺ was taking this oath, how he used to offer his hand, and people are going to put their hand in the hand of the Prophet. Only one person was missing. Who was that person? Sayyidina Usman. Usman was not there. He was in Makkah. Because of him, this bad took place. So Sayyidina Rasulullah ﷺ took his hand, one hand, and put it in another hand, and he said, Hadihi yadu Usman. This is the Usman's hand. So this is the bay'ah of Usman. A great excellence for Sayyidina Usman radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. Now, what happened that this bay'ah has been taken, and after that, of course, some time has passed, and the Mushrikeen people, they discovered that now the believers, they are in an angry mood, and they also have noticed how they love the Prophet ﷺ. In one incident, the very same Salama, he says that I was taking rest under a tree when 4 mushrikeen came, and they started saying bad things about the Prophet ﷺ, abusing him. So he said, I just left them, I went to another tree and took rest there. It might be the time of Qailula, siesta. Now these 4 mushrikeen people, they slept, but they have hung their swords, their weapons in the tree. So Salama, as I said to you, he was a great warrior. He came, he took all the swords, took them in his hand, and now they woke up. And he said, if you want your eyes to remain in your head, then don't move, come with me. So he took them all to the Prophet ﷺ. And the Prophet ﷺ, at that time, he did not want to fight at all. So this is why he said to them that I forgive you, let them go back. The Prophet ﷺ also said about those people who have forgiven this bay'ah, Antum khayru ahlil ard al-yawm. Today you are the best people on the surface of the earth. And he also said, لا يدخل النار أحد ممن بايع تحت الشجر. Nobody is going to enter into hellfire, those people who gave this bay'ah to the Prophet ﷺ. So this bay'ah was done, and because of this bay'ah, now the mushrikeen people, they were so much frightened that now they have sent Suhaib ibn Amr, one of their emissary, Suhaib ibn Amr, to negotiate with the Prophet ﷺ. So Suhaib ibn Amr comes, and after negotiating a few conditions of agreement, they are about to write the agreement. The Prophet ﷺ asked Sayyidina Ali to come and write the agreement. All right. The Prophet said, write, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. So Suhaib ibn Amr said, well, who is this Rahman? We don't know Rahman. If we just accept Rahman, it means that we are accepting your God. No, just write Allahumma, Allah, because they believe in Allah but they don't know Ar-Rahman. And Prophet ﷺ said, all right, Ali, write Allahumma. Allahumma bismika. Allahumma bismika, with your name. And then that هذا ما صالح عليه محمد رسول الله مع Suhaib ibn Amr. This, what the Prophet agreed, the Messenger of Allah agreed with Suhaib ibn Amr. Suhaib ibn Amr said, why Rasulullah, why? If we believe that we are Rasulullah, then there was no fighting among us. We don't believe that we are Rasulullah. Just write Muhammad between Muhammad and Suhaib ibn Amr. So Prophet said to Sayyidina Ali, who has already written these words, erase the word Rasulullah. Ali said, no, I'm not going to erase. How could I erase the word Rasulullah with my own hand? The Prophet said, no, erase it, because we are here for sulh, for reconciliation, not for fighting. He said, no, I'm not going to erase with my hand. So Prophet said, show me, because he is ummi. Show me where it is written. And then he erased by his own finger. There were 4 conditions. The first condition was that there would be no war for 10 years. No war pact for 10 years. Second, any person who comes running away from Quraysh people, from Makkah, from Quraysh people, without the permission of his wali, and he comes to the Prophet is bound to return him back. And if anyone runs away from the Prophet, even from Medina, runs away from Medina, from the Prophet, and goes back to Meccan people are not bound to return. Now this condition was a harsh condition. And this is why Sayyidina Umar, he always becomes very angry. He became very angry. He came to Sayyidina Abu Bakr. He said, Abu Bakr, see what is happening? Why should we accept such type of humiliating terms? He said these words, Alaysa huwa Rasulullah? He is not Rasulullah. Is he not Rasulullah? Yes. Are we not Muslims? Yes. Are not they mushrikeen? Yes. And in some narrations, are we not upon haqq and they are upon batil? He said yes. Alaysa qatlana fil jannah wa qatlahum fil nar? Is it not true that our killed people, our martyred people are in Jannah and their killed people are in hellfire? Abu Bakr said yes. Then he said, why should we accept these conditions? Sayyidina Abu Bakr said to Sayyidina Umar that obey him, be with him. He is Rasulullah. Whatever he is saying, we have to accept it. So he came to the Prophet ﷺ, Sayyidina Umar, and he said the same words to the Prophet. Why we are accepting these humiliating conditions? And the Prophet's answer was the same like Abu Bakr. He said, Ana Rasulullah, I am the messenger of Allah. Allah is not going to waste me. Inna Allah la yudayyi'uni. So, that was the second condition. The third condition, the tribes of Arabia, they are free to join in alliance either with the Prophet or with Quraysh people. And this is why later we knew that Banu Khuza'a, they came with the Prophet, and Banu Bakr, they came with Quraysh people. The fourth condition, the Prophet would return this year to Medina. He is not allowed to do Umrah this year, but next year he would come. And the people of Mecca would leave him for 3 days. And for 3 days the people of Mecca would leave the city, and Prophet would enter with his companions, but with their swords in their What is that? The sword's...
sheath.
Huh? Yes, sheath, huh? In the sword's sheath, yes. And it means that it would not be open, it would not be exposed. So these are the 4 conditions which were agreed upon. At the very same time when they have concluded this, when they were about to conclude this agreement, Abu Jandal, who was Abu Jandal? A Muslim from Makkah, coming with chains in his feet. He is the son of this person, Suhaib ibn Amr, the person who is negotiating with the Prophet ﷺ. His son has become Muslim and he has been chained in the house. And when he heard that the Muslims are very near, by any means he came and he said to the Prophet ﷺ, I am here, O Prophet of Allah, help me. Now Suhaib ibn Amr, he just stood up in anger. He said, first of all, he slapped his son, and then he said, Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, the treaty. Sulh al-Hudaybiyah, the agreement. The agreement says that if any person coming, running from Makkah, he should be returned. He should be returned with me. And Prophet said, we did not conclude the pledge yet. And he said, whether we concluded or not, if you don't return him, I'm not going to agree with any of these conditions at all. So he became very strict. So the Prophet ﷺ has to say to Abu Jandal, have patience. Inshallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give you a relief. And he said to Suhaib ibn Umar to take his son back to Makkah. So when he was going back, Sayyidina Umar, with his sword in his hand, he was coming very near to Abu Jandal. And he's saying to him, Isbir, ihtasib, have patience, have intention of reward. But he was pointing to his sword, and he take the sword from me, and drop the head of your father. This is what he was indicating to him. But Abu Jandal, of course, he did not want to kill his father, so he did not take the sword. But later, as we come to know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brought him a relief later. Now this oath of allegiance has been done, this treaty has been done, and according to the treaty they have to go back. But what about all those sacrificial animals? 70 camels. And you have to come out of the state of ihram, because they were in the ihram of Umrah. And then you have to sacrifice all these camels. So the Prophet ﷺ said to Sahaba, all right, sacrifice your camels and come out of your ihram. First come out of your ihram by shaving your head or trimming your hair, and then slaughter your camels. They were not in that mood at all. They thought that what we have done should not be done at all. So nobody was ready to do it. And Prophet ﷺ saw them not obeying him at that time. So he was very gloomy, sad. His wife Salama was with him at that time. So he went to his tent, went to her tent, and told her this what is happening. Salama, what a wise woman. She said, O Prophet of Allah, just ask your barber to come and shave your head. Slaughter your camel, and then you see what is going to happen. So the Prophet ﷺ asked his barber to come, who shaved his head, and then all the people started shaving their heads. He slaughtered his camel, all the people started slaughtering their camel. And that was the seerah of the Prophet ﷺ, a shura, consultation. And there are so many incidents of consultation. وَشَاوِرْهُمْ فِي الْأَمْرِ وَأَمْرُهُمْ شُورَى بَيْنَهُمْ in Al-Quran. But one consultation which I missed to mention here, when Prophet ﷺ was coming from Al-Madinah, and he knew about the news of Khalid ibn Walid, who has already come to check him and to stop him, and then he has to take another route. At that time he consulted the companions and he said to them that should we not meet these people? Should we not fight them? There are the people of their alliance who are Ahabish, whom I mentioned before, Ahabish, the people of the tribe known as Ahabish. These people, they are on our way. We can take the weak among them, and this is how we can force the Meccan people to accept us to enter into Makkah. So he did consult the Sahaba Ridwanullahi ta'ala. And Sayyidina Abu Bakr said, O Prophet of Allah, we have come only for Umrah, so we should not fight at all. We should not capture any captives at all. This is what the Prophet ﷺ did. So he did not come out for fighting at all. The Prophet, after that event, he started going back to Al-Madinah. And as we said before, this surah was revealed on his way back to Al-Madinah. إِنَّا فَتَحْنَا لَكَ فَتْحًا مُبِينًا لِيَغْفِرَ لَكَ اللَّهُ مَا تَقَدَّمَ مِنْ ذَنْبِكَ وَمَا تَأَخَّرَ وَيُتِمَّ نِعْمَتَهُ عَلَيْكَ وَيَهْدِيَكَ صِرَاطًا مُسْتَقِيمًا. And then he shouted to Sayyidina Umar, come, this surah has been revealed. Sayyidina Umar is saying, أَفَتْحٌ هُوَ? Is it a victory? He said, yes, it is victory, not victory. Fathan Mubina, a manifest victory. So let us now explain these ayats. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is pleased of those believers who are giving you oath of allegiance under the tree. فَعَلِمَ مَا فِي قُلُوبِهِمْ. He knew what is in their heart. فَأَنزَلَ السَّكِينَةَ عَلَيْهِمْ. So he brought tranquility upon them. وَأَصَابَهُمْ فَتْحًا قَرِيبًا. And gave them an imminent conquest. فَعَلِمَ مَا فِي قُلُوبِهِمْ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knew that they are very grieved. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made tranquility in their hearts. وَأَصَابَهُمْ فَتْحًا قَرِيبًا. And he gave them an imminent victory, a very near victory, which is this Sulhul Hudaybiyah. وَمَغَانِمَ كَثِيرَةً يَأْخُذُونَهَا. Another promise, you will get a lot of war booty. وَكَانَ اللَّهُ عَزِيزًا حَكِيمًا. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mighty and wise. وَمَغَانِمَ كَثِيرَةً يَأْخُذُونَهَا. Which expedition was after Sulhul Hudaybiyah, just after Sulhul Hudaybiyah? Khaybar. In Khaybar. So in Khaybar they got a lot of war booty. And then the next ayah, وَعَدَكُمُ اللَّهُ مَغَانِمَ كَثِيرَةً تَأْخُذُونَهَا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has promised you a lot of war booties which you are going to take. فَعَجَّلَ لَكُمْ هَذِي. He made this one, means the one which is in Khaybar. He gave you in advance. وَكَفَّ أَيْدِيَ النَّاسِ عَنْكُمْ. He stopped the hands of the people from you. Those people who wanted to fight you or to kill you. So when he was in Hudaybiyah, one day 70 people came to fight him. Another night 80 people came to fight him. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made them all to stop their hands. وَلَتَكُونَ آيَةً لِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ. And so that you become a sign for the believers. A sign for the believers that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is helping the Prophet. So he becomes a sign for their victory. وَيَهْدِيَكُمْ صِرَاطًا مُسْتَقِيمًا. And guide you to a right path. And that is the right course which they have adopted. وَأُخْرَى لَمْ تَقْدِرُوا عَلَيْهَا قَدْ أَحَاطَ اللَّهُ بِهَا وَكَانَ اللَّهُ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ قَدِيرًا. And another victory which you were not able to achieve it now, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has encompassed it. وَكَانَ اللَّهُ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ قَدِيرًا. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is competent upon everything. وَأُخْرَى لَمْ تَقْدِرُوا عَلَيْهَا. So there are three types of promises here. One, imminent victory, Treaty of Hudaybiyah. After that, a very near victory, conquest of Khaybar. After that, other victories which are going to come, and that include the conquest of Makkah, the Hunain, and then Tabuk, and then during the time of Sayyidina Abu Bakr and Umar, the Persian Empire, the Roman empires, all these victories which you are going to get later. وَلَوْ قَاتَلَكُمُ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا لَوَلَّوُا الْأَدْبَارَ ثُمَّ لَا يَجِدُونَ وَلِيًّا وَلَا نَصِيرًا. If these kuffar people, if they really fight you, they would have to run away on their backs, turning on their backs. ثُمَّ لَا يَجِدُونَ وَلِيًّا وَلَا نَصِيرًا. And then they will not find any protector or a helper. And that is the sunnah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that even if these people, kuffar people, if they want to fight you, Allah is not going to make them successful. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give you victory. They will not find any wali, any nasir. Wali and nasir, two words. Because sometimes wali is your friend, but he is not powerful. He can't help you. So this is why two words are used, waliyan, wala nasira. You will not find any wali for them, any helper for them. سُنَّةَ اللَّهِ الَّتِي قَدْ خَلَتْ مِنْ قَبْلُ وَلَنْ تَجِدَ لِسُنَّةِ اللَّهِ تَبْدِيلًا. That is the sunnah of Allah which has passed before in Battle of Badr. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given victory to the believers. And you will never find any change in the sunnah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَهُوَ الَّذِي كَفَّ أَيْدِيَهُمْ عَنْكُمْ وَأَيْدِيَكُمْ عَنْهُمْ بِبَطْنِ مَكَّةَ مِنْ بَعْدِ أَنْ أَظْفَرَكُمْ عَلَيْهِمْ وَكَانَ اللَّهُ بِمَا تَعْمَلُونَ بَصِيرًا. He is the one who stopped their hands from you. Same thing which has been mentioned before. Sometimes 70 people, other time 80 people, in another occasions 4 persons. So all these persons, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala stopped them from giving any harm to the believers. وَأَيْدِيَكُمْ عَنْهُمْ. And He stopped your hands to reach them as well. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not want any fighting. So He stopped them to reach you and stopped you to reach them. That was where? بِبَطْنِ مَكَّةَ. In the valley of Makkah, in the area of Makkah, because Hudaybiyah is within the area of Makkah. Now Hudaybiyah is the very same place which I told you last time, which is a part of Makkah. It is called Shumaisi, on your way to Tan'im. Min ba'di an asfarakum alayhim. After that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you control upon them. Some Sahaba, they took them by force. They brought them to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So they got the control upon them, and still Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala stopped you from reaching them and they to reach you. وَكَانَ اللَّهُ بِمَا تَعْمَلُونَ بَصِيرًا. And Allah is well aware of what you do. هُمُ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا وَصَدُّوكُمْ عَنِ الْمَسْجِدِ الْحَرَامِ وَالْهَدْيَ مَعْكُوفًا أَنْ يَبْلُغَ مَحِلَّهُ. They are the kuffar people. First of all, هُمُ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا, they did kufr. Second, وَصَدُّوكُمْ عَنِ الْمَسْجِدِ الْحَرَامِ, they stopped you from going to the sacred mosque. Third thing, وَالْهَدْيَ مَعْكُوفًا أَنْ يَبْلُغَ مَحِلَّهُ. And the sacrificial animals. Ma'kufan. Ma'kufan means mawkufan. They were just waqf to be sacrificed at their place, in the place in Makkah. So these people, they got three sins. Kufr, stopping you from going to Masjid al-Haram, stopping the sacrificial animals to go to reach that place where they are going to be sacrificed. وَلَوْلَا رِجَالٌ مُؤْمِنُونَ وَنِسَاءٌ مُؤْمِنَاتٌ لَمْ تَعْلَمُوهُمْ مَنْ تَطَوُوهُمْ فَتُصِيبَكُمْ مِنْهُمْ مَعَرَّةٌ بِغَيْرِ عِلْمٍ. Now here there is an answer. That why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not like a fighting there. Because if there was a fighting, what is going to happen? There were still some believers, men and women in Makkah. According to one narration, there were 9. 7 men and 2 women. They were still in Makkah. They did not migrate because of their circumstances. So if any fighting broke out between them, they might be killed in that fighting because kuffar people will kill them. Because of them, some believer men and believing women, lam ta'lamuhum, about whom you did not know who they are, an tata'uhum. And if fighting breaks out, you might You might trespass them and you might kill them. فَتُصِيبَكُم مِّنْهُمْ مَعَرَّةٌ. Then you will have a shame. Ma'arrah here, ar. And what is the ar? That if a believer is killed by the hand of another believer, normally, by accident, you have to pay the blood money. So in this case, if the believing men and women, they are living in a hostile country, in the country of the enemy, and then they are killed by the hand of the Muslims, then they have to pay the blood money to their guardians. So this will become a shame for the believers. That first of all, their own people are killed, and secondly, they have to pay the blood money to their guardians as well. So this is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to prevent them from this, He did not make any fighting at all. لِيُدْخِلَ اللَّهُ فِي رَحْمَتِهِ مَنْ يَشَاءُ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala stopped you from reaching them and stopped them to reaching you, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted to admit in His mercy whom He liked. لِيُدْخِلَ اللَّهُ فِي رَحْمَتِهِ مَنْ يَشَاءُ. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted these people to become Muslim. So in this way, when the war was stopped, many people will enter into Islam, and this is what happened. لَوْ تَزَيَّلُوا لَعَذَّبْنَا الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا مِنْهُمْ عَذَابًا أَلِيمًا. لَوْ تَزَيَّلُوا. If the believers and non-believers were clearly set apart, زَالُوا تَزَيَّلُوا. If they were totally set apart, that you know these are the believers and these are the non-believers, then and only then, لَعَذَّبْنَا الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا مِنْهُمْ عَذَابًا أَلِيمًا. Then we have punished. We must have punished these people, these kuffar people, عَذَابًا أَلِيمًا, a very painful punishment. So it was very clear that why this fighting did not break out, why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not like this fighting to break out, why? Only because of that reason, that there were some Muslims, men and women, among the non-believers, and they were not recognized. If fighting breaks out, then they might be killed. If they were not mixed up with them, and they were totally separate from them, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would have caused the believers to fight, and then there was a painful punishment for the kuffar people. Now let us come to the last ayah. إِذْ جَعَلَ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا فِي قُلُوبِهِمُ الْحَمِيَّةَ حَمِيَّةَ الْجَاهِلِيَّةِ فَأَنزَلَ اللَّهُ سَكِينَتَهُ عَلَى رَسُولِهِ وَعَلَى الْمُؤْمِنِينَ وَأَلْزَمَهُمْ كَلِمَةَ التَّقْوَى وَكَانُوا أَحَقَّ بِهَا وَأَهْلَهَا وَكَانَ اللَّهُ بِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ عَلِيمًا. Remember that time when these kuffar people, they have developed in their hearts a prejudice of Jahiliyyah, a prejudice of the time of Jahiliyyah. What was that prejudice? When they declined to write on the treaty the name of Ar-Rahman, Bismillah Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. That is Jahiliyyah. When they declined to write the name of the Prophet Muhammad Rasulullah, that is also Jahiliyyah. So this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala means here, that these people, they developed a prejudice of Jahiliyyah in their heart. فَأَنزَلَ اللَّهُ سَكِينَتَهُ عَلَى رَسُولِهِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has brought tranquility at that time upon His Prophet and upon the believers. The Prophet and the believers, they did not become haughty at that time. Oh, they are not accepting our terms, so we should boycott them. We should not make this treaty. No, there was a lot of wisdom in that treaty at that time. Such a great wisdom that there should be no fighting for 10 years. This will give them a great opportunity for other people to see Islam and to enter into Islam, and this is what happened. At that time, before Surah Al-Hudaybiyah, the total number of the believers was only 3,000. 3,000. And within 2 years, after 2 years, when the people of Mecca, they have broken this treaty, the treaty was for 10 years, but they have broken it in 2 years. So this is why the Prophet came to conquer Mecca. At that time, the number of the believers was 10,000. 10,000. And from this 10,000, I remember that prophecy which is given in Old Testament as well about the Prophet ﷺ. And it shows very clearly that by this prophecy or this good news, only Prophet Muhammad ﷺ is meant. That he would be entering the town with 10,000 of his companions. And same thing is known in Hindu scriptures, in Veda. In Veda, it also says about the city and the man entering into it with 10,000 warriors. So that was a great victory for the Prophet ﷺ. When he accepted this treaty, which made them to spread Islam and let the people enter into Islam. وَأَلْزَمَهُمْ كَلِمَةَ التَّقْوَى وَكَانُوا أَحَقَّ بِهَا وَأَهْلَهَا. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made the believers stick to the word of taqwa. The word of taqwa. What is the word of taqwa? La ilaha illallah, Muhammadur Rasulullah. That is the word of taqwa. And they stood by the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. وَكَانُوا أَحَقَّ بِهَا وَأَهْلَهَا. And they deserve, they are the most deserving people for this kalima to stand with it. They are the people of that kalima. وَكَانُوا أَحَقَّ بِهَا وَأَهْلَهَا وَكَانَ اللَّهُ بِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ عَلِيمًا. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is well aware of everything. Now we can say in the end that this Treaty of Hudaybiyah, that was a great blessing for the Muslims. For the first time, Quraysh people who did not recognize Muslim as a power by this treaty is between two sides. One is Quraysh and one is the Prophet. So they accepted or they recognized the power of the believers. That was a great thing. Second thing is, they said, they also accepted whoever tribe wants to enter into the alliance of the Prophet, he could enter. So they allowed many tribes who became Muslim to become ally of the Prophet ﷺ. So all these conditions, they were in the favor of the believers, except for that condition that if someone is coming running from Mecca to Medina, he should be returned back. Though there is some humiliation in it. But what happened? Meccan people, they broke it within months, this condition. How? Among those people who were left behind, there was one called Abu Basir. Now Abu Basir, he ran from Mecca and he came to Al-Madinah. Meccan people, they sent 2 persons behind him to ask the Prophet to send him back. So Prophet ﷺ is bound with the condition. He said to Abu Basir, no, this is not right. We have made this treaty, so you have to go back. He said, all right. So they took him back. When they were just outside Al-Madinah at the time of Dhul Hulayfa where we do our ihram now. Ihram for Umrah after coming out of Al-Madinah. So Abu Basir, he was also a warrior. He said to one of them, show me your sword. Oh, it's so shining, so pretty, so good, so good. And sword. And in this way he took his sword from his hand and he stopped his head. The other person was frightened, ran away. He went back to Medina. What happened to you? He said, Abu Basir has killed my companions. And Abu Basir came back as well. And the Prophet said to him, Wailun, mis'aru harbin, are you going to alight a fire now? A fire of fighting? So Abu Basir knew that Prophet ﷺ did not like him doing it. So straight away he went away. And then he went to the coast. Because coast from Medina is not far away. So he went to the coast And then he stayed there at a certain point where Abu Jandal came and joined him as well. Abu Jandal, the same person. So these two persons, whoever wants to run away from Makkah, he would join them. Now they started charging the caravans of the Meccan people. Any Meccan people who are passing by that way, they would charge him and they would attack him. In the end, the Meccan people were so frustrated that they said to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, please, let them go back to you. We don't want them. We don't want them. So this is how they yielded themselves and they were free, Abu Basir and Abu Jandal. Some women came. They are believing women when they came to Al-Madinah. Quraysh people, they said, oh, according to the treaty, you should return them back as well. At that time, Surah Al-Mumtahana was revealed. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu idha ja'akumul mu'minatu muhajiratin famtahinuhun Allahu a'lamu bi-imanihin. If the believing woman comes to you, then make a test of them. Are they really believers or not? And if they are believers, then don't return them. فَلَا تَرْجِعُوهُنَّ إِلَى الْكُفَّارِ. Don't return them to kuffar people. So the Prophet ﷺ said to the Quraysh people, the treaty, just read the treaty, what the treaty says. It says, if any man, إِذَا كَانَ رَجُلٌ, if any man comes running from Makkah, it does not say woman. So stick to the agreement. We can't return the believing woman to you. So this is how these women, they were tested, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given all the other issues of mahar, that because they have left their husbands, so these women, when they come to Medina, somebody is going to marry them. So the one who is going to marry them will pay the mahar or return the mahar back to her previous husband who is still in Makkah. At that time, Sayyidina Umar got two wives in Makkah. They were mushrikeen. Because this ayah of Surah Al-Mumtahana also said, وَلَا تُمْسِكُوا بِعِصَمِ الْكَوَافِرِ. It is not allowed for you to keep hold of kafir women with you. Release them from your marriage. So Sayyidina Umar released them. Because Abu Sufyan and Safwan ibn Umayyah, Abu Sufyan was still non-Muslim at that time. He married one woman, and Safwan ibn Umayyah married the other woman. And the very same surah says that in this case, when a Muslim man has released some woman, so because he deserves now the double amount. So the kuffar people are bound to return the double amount of those women whom they have married to the previous husband who is a Muslim. So these are the issues which are dealt with in Surah Al-Mumtahana. And another thing which we understand from this treaty, that believers, they did not start any fighting at all. Quran is very clear when it says in Surah At-Tawbah, Hum bada'ukum li awwal marra. Hum bada'ukum awwal marra. They started you right from the beginning. Who came to Badr? They started. Badr is very close to Medina, not close to Makkah. So they came all the way to Badr. Hum bada'ukum awwal marra. Muslims, they were just trying to defend themselves. And this treaty means the treaty that there would be no war for 10 years, that people would be free. If they want to choose any deen, they are free to choose it. فَمَنْ شَاءَ فَلْيُؤْمِنْ وَمَنْ شَاءَ فَلْيَكْفُرْ. It is free. Whoever wants to become Muslim, he should. He can. And who wants to remain kafir, he can. So there is la ikraha fi deen. There is no compulsion in the matter of religion. So what Muslims wanted to make such an environment where there is freedom of expression. People should be free to whatever religion they want. And this is what happened because of that treaty. When the tribes of Arabia, they discovered about Islam and the beauty of Islam, and they started coming to enter into Islam. And the Prophet ﷺ started writing letters to all the kings and the rulers around the Arabian Peninsula, asking them to become Muslim as well. All this accomplished within the 2 years after Hudaybiyah. So Hudaybiyah became a great, great victory for the Muslims. And that is the main message of this surah. Inna fatahna laka fathan mubina. And now, alhamdulillah, we have covered 3 sessions in Surah Al-Fath. And the last session, inshallah, would be next Saturday with the last ayat of Surah Al-Fath. Jazakumullahu khairan. Sallallahu ta'ala ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.